in two streams through her nose. Harry backed away a little, gazing through his lens, then he straightened and nodded. The first assistant director spoke into a bullhorn. "Quiet, please. Rolling for picture." A red-haired woman with a thick sheaf of script open on a clipboard stepped in and took Jill's cigarette. Jill stared into the camera. Her face got prettier. A little guy with a straggly beard and an orange down vest jumped into the shot with a clacker and clacked. Behind Jill, the subway train that had been idling there patiently began to creep forward. "And action!" Harry yelled. Jill looked off camera right and called out, "Rick? It's all right, Rick, I'm here." Her eyes scanned past the camera, looking for Rick. The train pulled on through behind her and moved on down the tunnel. The camera panned after it as it went and held on its taillights disappearing, and Harry said, "Cut, it's a keeper." Jill put her hand out again in the general direction of the script person and waggled it. The script woman handed her the lighted cigarette, and she took another big drag, dropped it on the floor, shrugged deeper into her mink, and headed toward the escalator. A uniformed Boston cop named Ray Morrissey walked ahead of Jill and moved people out of her way. "Wow," I said, "was that magic or what?" Susan grinned. "God save me, I could watch it all day." "Really?" I said. "You think I'm deeply disturbed?" Susan said. "Yes," I said. She nodded. "Yes," she said, "I think you're right." Then she smiled her smile that made Jill Joyce look like a cow flap and nodded her head toward a group standing beyond the escalator. "There's Sandy," she said. Sandy was state-of-the-art Eddie Bauer. He had on a full-length, gold-colored, down-lined jumpsuit with black fur-topped thermal boots half-zipped and a black knit ski cap with a large golden tassel. He was short and probably wiry, but who could tell in the down jumpsuit? He had a goatee. With him was a hatless man with a lot of black curly hair, a strong nose, and dark skin. As we moved through the crowd toward them, the crew was packing up equipment, folding light stands, coiling cable, dismantling the cameras, packing up the sound gear. Everyone seemed to know what he was doing, which made this a unique enterprise in my experience. Susan said, "Sandy." Sandy turned and smiled at her. His glance took me in too, but it didn't harm the smile. "Susan," Sandy said. "And this has got to be Mr. Spencer." Beyond Sandy and the guy with the black curly hair was a youngish guy with a round face and rimless glasses. He looked at both of us without expression. Susan introduced me. "This is Sandy Saltzman," she said. "He's the line producer." Susan had been consulting on the show for less than a month now, and already she spoke a language as arcane as the psychological tech talk of which I'd but recently cured her. We shook hands. "This is Milo Nogarian," Susan said, gesturing toward the guy with the curls, "the executive producer. And Marty Riggs from Zenith." We shook hands. "Susan is the consultant we hired, Marty," Sandy said, "and Mr. Spencer is a private security consultant that maybe is going to give us a hand with Jill." Marty Riggs gazed at me with his gray, expressionless eyes, enlarged a bit by the rimless glasses. He was wearing a tweed cap and a cable-stitched white wool sweater under a thick Donegal tweed jacket with a long scarf wrapped around his neck. The loose ends of the scarf reached to his knees. He gave me a small, stiff nod. I smiled warmly. "Susan actually is a psychotherapist, Marty," Nogarian said. "Sees to it that we don't get our complexes mixed up." Susan smiled even more warmly than I had. "I'm sure," Marty said. "Milo, just remember what I said. I don't want to have to go into the network again and defend a piece of shit that you people have labeled script and sent over, capiche?" "Time, Marty," Nogarian said. "You know what the time pressures are like." "And you know what cancellation is like, Milo. You have the top television star on the planet, and you haven't broken the top 10 yet. You know why? Script is why. Jill's been raising hell about them, and she's right. I want something better, and I want to start seeing it tomorrow." "How come your scarf so long?" I said. Susan put her hand on my arm. Riggs turned and looked at me. "What?" he said. "Your scarf," I said, "is dangerously long. You might step on it and strangle yourself." Susan dug her fingers into my arm. "What the fuck are you talking about?" Riggs said. "Your scarf. I may have to make a citizen's arrest here. Your scarf is a safety hazard." Riggs looked at Nogarian and Saltzman. "Who the fuck is this guy, Milo?" Nogarian looked as if he'd eaten something awful. Saltzman seemed to be struggling with laughter. Susan's grip on my arm was so hard now that if I weren't tougher than 6 roofing nails it might have hurt. "Looks dandy, though," I said. Whoever Riggs was, he was used to getting more respect than I was giving him.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.